Hey Leute, willkommen zurück zu Danganronpa, immer noch im Class Trial.
Do you have any evidence that might convince me otherwise?
No, there's no way Mukuru is the one that attacked me, even if I didn't see their face. Mukuru had a very obvious Fenrir tattoo. Oh stimmt, comparing her to the masked attacker, dass er sich das merken kann. Er war doch im Halbschlaf. It should be obvious.
You never saw their face, right? So you can't have any idea who was under that mask. I'm telling you now, it was Mukuro Ikusaba!
You're wrong. Even without seeing their face, there's another part of the attacker we can use to prove it wasn't her.
Oh? And what is this other part? Is it the right hand? Or the left hand? Maybe the right foot? Or perhaps the left foot? Or could it be the hips?
Welche Hand war es nochmal? The most noticeable feature with the marked her membership in Fenrir. The tattoo was in a certain easy to spot area. Warte, ich muss gerade immer überlegen. Das war die rechte Hand. Also von ihr aus gesehen rechte Hand. Ah, ist jetzt kacke. Welche?
You're wrong. There's another part of the attack.
Oh? And what? Is it the right hand?
Ja, es ist Perspektiven. Es sind Perspektiven, da kann ich auch nichts dafür. Dann ist die linke Hand. Aber das Ding... Oh, Mann.
So you can't have... I'm telling you now.
You're wrong. There's another part of the attack.
Oh? And what? Is it the right hand or the left hand?
Was?
Shoot.
Aber das Tattoo...
You never saw their face, so you can't have... I'm telling you now, it was...
You're wrong. There's another part of the attacker we can use to prove it wasn't her.
Oh? And what is this? Is it the right hand or the left hand? Maybe the right foot, or perhaps the left foot. Or could it be... the hips?
Das wäre jetzt lustig gewesen, wenn das richtig gewesen wäre. Words can cut as deep as any blade, you know. You interrupted me while I was talking. One point deduction. Ah, ist das kacke. Regt mich das auf.
You never saw their face, so you can't have any idea. I'm telling you now, it was Mukuro Ikusaba!
You're wrong. There's another part of the attacker.
Oh? And what? Is it the right hand or the left hand?
Perspektiven, ich sag's euch, es ist so kacke. Es kommt drauf an, aus welcher Perspektive
you
du
never
siehst.
saw their face, so you can't have any idea. I'm telling you now, it was Mukuro Ikusaba!
Nein, hör auf.
You're wrong. There's another part of the attack.
Oh? And what? Is it the right hand?
Ja, es sind Perspektiven. So. Aus unserer Perspektive wäre es die linke Hand.
Mukuro had a tattoo on her right hand, if I remember correctly. A representation of Fenrir. In other words, a wolf tattoo. But I saw the right hand of the person who attacked me. And there was no such tattoo. So there's no way the person behind the mask was Mukuro.
Yeah, well, okay. You got me. I guess it wasn't her. But that still doesn't prove that it was me.
Wer sonst?
It could have been, you know, someone else, right?
Warum würde man der anderen Leiche diese Sachen oder halt der Mukuro diese Sachen anziehen?
Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I all have solid alibis for that entire night.
Yeah! We were in the gym tearing you apart, so it couldn't have been any of us.
Oh, okay, sure. It couldn't have been any of you.
Oh, da wird er nervös.
But what about Kyoko? It totally could have been her. Uh-oh, no snappy comeback. Did I score a bullseye?
If you insist, I don't mind showing you.
Huh? Show me what?
Ach, die Hände.
What do you think? I'll show you the one thing that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it wasn't me.
Before anyone could say anything. Ja, die Hände. Kyoko was removing her gloves.
Your hands!
Without thinking, I let out a gasp. It was more than just a little burnt skin.
Awful, isn't it? It happened when I was first learning to be a detective. I was inexperienced.
I thought you didn't want anyone to see those scars.
If it means we get another step closer to unmasking the mastermind, it doesn't really bother me.
Yoko seemed to savor the words as she said them. Then she put her gloves back on.
My scars should suffice as proof.
Yeah.
Makoto, did the person who attacked you have scars like mine?
No, not at all. I'm positive.
Then this much has been made clear. There can be no doubt that the one who attacked Makoto is the true mastermind.
Uh-oh.
This is just awful!
The dish is awful, yeah.
On top of my secret being revealed, I had to look at those positively grotesque scars of yours. Sorry, did I say that out loud? I do hope I didn't hurt your feelings.
Not at all. You can say whatever you want.
Sure, as long as it means pushing me farther into the corner, right? But I'm not cornered just yet. Because if you haven't noticed, the circumstances surrounding Mukuro's death are totally unknown.
That's true. All we know right now is she was killed a good while before this morning.
On the contrary, we don't know anything other than that.
You're not going to tell us she was already dead before we arrived here or something, are you?
In that regard, you have nothing to worry about. I promise you, without a doubt, she died after our little killing game began here.
Then somehow she was killed in secret without any of us knowing.
And after she died, who knows how much time went by before we found her, right? Did the culprit stash her somewhere? She couldn't have been in the garden the whole time, could she?
If she was, she would have been totally decomposed. Just like your brain!
Then, she was being stored somewhere?
Yeah, in Biolab.
To hide a body here? To just store it somewhere?
There's only one place. I can't think of anywhere else. The body could have been stored.
I got it! Mukuro's body was probably kept hidden in the biolab.
Biolab? You mean on the 5th floor?
That's right. It's actually set up for use as a morgue. So it's the perfect place to hide a body. And it'd keep the body preserved at the same time.
Then you're also saying the body was moved from the biolab to the garden.
And I have no doubt that that's exactly what happened. In fact, I have proof.
Oh, Hilfe. Proof that shows the body was carried from the biolab to the garden. Ja, the tarp oder was? Or something that made... It's way from the biolab to the garden. Okay, yeah, the tarp.
I got it! What makes me so sure the body was carried from the biolab to the garden is... the tarp that we found in the garden. When I was checking it over again, I noticed something. I noticed that some text had been stamped on one corner of the tarp.
Oh, it says Biolab.
Holy cow! How'd you notice that tiny little thing?
Makoto's nitpicky nature seems to have surfaced with perfect timing.
This proves that the tarp originally came from the biolab. In fact, there's a whole stack of tarps just like it in there.
So when the killer moved the body to the garden, they must have grabbed a tarp to wrap it in. Then they simply left it as it was to protect against the sprinklers. and put the code on it afterwards.
You made everything sound so amazingly consistent.
But that's just a wild guess.
Du Idiot, Monokuma.
Where's your evidence? Prove that the body was wrapped in a tarp and moved.
There is no evidence. I was simply explaining what I think happened. But you seem to be getting pretty worked up about it, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Worked up?
Yeah?
Now that the conversation has turned to the topic of the biolab, you must be getting pretty nervous. Because the key to uncovering your secret identity is hidden within that room, isn't it?
Are you talking about unmasking the mastermind?
You see, the biolab contained an inconsistency. One so major it can't be overlooked.
An inconsistency in the biolab. Could you be talking about...
La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la.
Such a child. Oh well, just ignore him.
You pull myself together and think. The inconsistency in the biolab. Could you be talking about...
Hey, by the way, Makoto, what about that one thing?
What one thing?
What do you think I'm talking about? Your family.
What?
Don't tell me you forgot about that video message. So what do you think? Are you sure your family's still okay?
Why are you bringing that up now?
Dich abzulenken.
Your mom, your dad, your little sister. What do you think has happened to your family? Are they really as safe as you might have assumed?
Stop talking about that!
Calm down, Makoto. He wants you to get upset.
Yeah, I need to calm down. I can't let him get to me. He's just saying it cause he knows we're getting close to the truth with the biolab. So if I want to shut him up, I need to expose the inconsistency and slam him with it. The inconsistency has to be that one area where the numbers just don't match up. Na, super, ernsthaft?
Are you sure about this? That's impossible! Are you sure about this? That's impossible! What? What do you want? Are you sure about this? That's impossible! Are you sure about this? That's impossible! I'm not listening!
Nein!
Are you sure about this? That's impossible! I'm not listening!
This should prove it. The inconsistency Kyoko's talking about is... the lights!
Oh, stimmt.
What are you talking about? What about the lights?
Like I said before, the biolab also acts as a morgue. And as part of that, a giant refrigerator was installed in there. That's where everyone who's died is stored.
And it was set up so that when a slot had a body in it, a blue light would turn on.
In other words, if the blue light is on, that means there's a body in that slot.
But I counted up the number of blue lights that were on, including the one Mukuro was in. And there were only 9.
Why does that matter? You gotta give me the bite-sized version here, man.
9 lights don't make sense. Number of lights that should be on is... Alter, keine Ahnung. Warte mal, 15 noch übrig, oder? Wie viel sind übrig? Ach. Das ist doch falsch. Dann 10. Plus noch hier. Mann!
Shoot! I got it!
Ja.
10 of the lights should have been on. Any other number is incredibly suspicious.
Suspicious? Why?
That's simple. Just recall who's died here so far, and it should become clear.
Ach, es sind doch jetzt noch 6 übrig, oder? Warte mal, Kodo, Kyoko, Toko, Byakuya, Yasuhiro, Aoi. Oh, es gab ja auch 16. That's right, that's the key to solve this. Ja. Sayaka died first. Junko was second. Leon was third. Chihiro was fourth. Mondo was fifth. Tako was sixth, and Hifumi was seventh. Celeste was eighth. Sakura was ninth. And victim number 10 was Mukuro.
So 10 people in all?
And ist eine nicht tot.
That's right.
Eine Person
Any
ist
other
tot.
number should make you immediately suspicious. But according to the lights in the biolab, only 9 people were being stored there.
You're saying a dead body just up and disappeared?
I got it! The masterminds destroyed one of the bodies to get rid of evidence.
But if they wanted to do that, they would have destroyed Mukuro's body, since they actually killed her. And yet, her body was left alone.
Then, whose body disappeared?
It may very well be that none of them disappeared.
But if that's true, then why doesn't the body count match?
Including Monokuma's executions, there have apparently been 10 deaths, but there were only 9 bodies. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm completely lost. How can the number of victims be less than the number of murderers?
The reason there are less bodies than murders. The explanation for those murders, for more murders than victims. Why is that? I would. Last time the same person was killed twice, only 9 murders took place. What? Oh, bin ich behindert, stimmt. Oh, ich bin so kacke. Ja, dann warte mal hier. Same person was killed twice.
What
Oh, yeah.
about it? The same person was killed twice.
Das klingt so dumm.
Killed twice?
Officially, 10 murders have been committed so far. But one of the victims may have been murdered, and then murdered again.
Murdered and murdered again?
If that's the case, there could have been 10 killings, but still only 9 victims, right?
Technically, you're right, I guess. But still, something like that.
Could easily have happened. No, it is what happened.
Sounds like you're already convinced. Then can you tell us who was killed twice?
It was Mukuro, of course. Before
Yeah.
she was killed as Mukuro Ikusaba, she was killed as someone else.
And that's why the body had to be stored in the biolab until the moment we found it in the garden.
No, that's crazy talk. She was killed as someone else? Come on! Besides, who could that someone else even have been?
All you have to do is look at those bodily injuries of hers, and that will become obvious.
Die ganzen Wunden.
Nothing's gonna become obvious. Because Kyoko's totally delusional.
He was delusional.
Who is this someone else that Mukuro was killed as? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima, Leon Kuwata, Chihiro Fujisaki, Mando Owada,
Steht alle auf, wa?
Kiyotaka Ishimaru, Hifumi Yamada, Celestia Lu, whatever. Or maybe Sakura Ogami. No, no, no. There's no way anyone was murdered twice.
Mukuro died from the wounds she had all over her body. Wasn't there someone else who suffered the same sort of injury? Diese Junko.
Who is this someone else? Was it Sayaka Maizono? Junko Enoshima?
Was? Wieso denn nicht? You wow me, Makoto. Words cut. Ja, okay. Super. Ja, Moment. Man muss mal ganz ans Ende warten.
Junko, Leon,
Das ist bescheuert.
Mando, Kiyotaki, Fumi, Celestia, or maybe... No, there's no way anyone was murdered twice!
Das ist bescheuert, echt.
Who is this sub? Was it Sayaka, Junko, Enoshima?
No, that's wrong. Junko. Wasn't her fatal injury pretty similar to Mukuro's?
No.
What do you mean?
Well, remember what happened to her? She was impaled by a bunch of spears, all over her body.
And Mukuro died from a number of wounds across her body. When you compare that to the stab wounds Junko suffered,
Then the similarities match?
Yes, and those are the only fatal injuries that match up. That explains why those two bodies are actually one and the same.
so let me see if I have this straight. Junko, or someone going by that name, was stabbed to death with multiple spears. Then her body was kept in the biolab for however long before being dragged out again. Only this time, it was presented as the corpse of one Mukuro Ikusaba.
It all matches up, right? Those wounds Junko suffered could easily be these same injuries.
It's really true? Mukuro and Junko are the same person?
Nee.
Wait, so then... What does it all mean?
Ich verstehe es auch noch nicht so ganz, aber gut, Leute, würde ich sagen, dass wir uns hier beim nächsten Mal bei Danganronpa und ciao.